How's it going, YouTube? We've got some fun stuff for you all today and some massive W's across the board. I'm not going to waste any of your time because we got a lot to break down. We're going to jump straight into it. First things first, obviously not the big focus of the video, but something we've all been waiting for. Joyo officially announced to the Oxygen roster. Very happy for them. This is the team right now that is sitting in 6th place in Europe, only 1 point behind Magnifico, who is also making a change. From the looks of things, bringing in a Chronic, as you guys saw in previous videos, but this is officially confirmed. It's locked in. They did an interview over with Hootie Who, their content creator for Oxygen, as well. If you guys want to, go check out his VOD. Maybe he'll post it as well, but some insight talking to the team about how they feel about everything. But the big focus we've got today and a big conversation has to do with Rocket League Esports and Blast making even more changes to the season mid-season. It's a massive W. I love that they keep doing this where they're making adjustments. They're listening to the high-profile people. They're listening to the conversations of how can we, as an organization, provide better things to the community. Number one thing they talked about during this offseason was, hey, open qualifiers, we do them over so many days. We do them technically over 2 weeks. We might as well make sure that the matches that matter most are BO5s. So if you make top 192 in the bracket, which is basically day 2, then the matches go to BO5 instead of BO3. Less upsets, more consistent games. It's a big win. It's absolutely fantastic. The second thing is Swiss stage. So if you are going into the top 16, it is now considering your seeding for the overall season's performance, which should provide more consistent results. A lot of this feels like they just don't want a repeat of what happened to Space Station, have to play Gen G every single time. But your initial seed, when you go from 1 to 16, is now going to take your performance from the remainder of the year. In the past, when people would get qualified, they would assume the seed. So as we saw, TSM beat OG. They got the number 2 seed. OG dropped down to 15-16 and had to play someone like Gen G in the first round. Now that is no longer the case. Okay, they are going to take an aggregate or find some sort of average based upon the previous results that you have had, and that will give you your initial seed going into Swiss stage for the top 16. So your seeding and stuff still applies when it comes into the initial bracket for double elimination. But when it comes to, hey, cream of the crop, creme de la creme of top 16, you are going to have your previous results matter, which is great. It's the way it should be. And last but not least, they are now bringing in a hybrid elimination format for the World Championship top 8. And a lot of people are confused by this one and aren't sure exactly what the new hybrid elimination thing is. You can pull this up in the RLCS rule page. The way that it would work is like we just saw at the major. You go through Swiss if you're one of the top 8. 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, so on and so forth. It's single elimination best of 7s. You win, you keep playing. You lose, you go home. Gave us some very entertaining matches, which I personally really like for qualifiers and for majors. I want there to be a strictness. I want there to be a cutthroat type result. Because at the end of the day, if you didn't do it here, you have to do it in the next event. You get 6 qualifiers and 2 majors to prove that you are of deserving quality to make it to the World Championship. You are proving that the best teams are moving forward, and the format can help with that. Swiss, I think, does a really good job of weeding out teams, giving everybody enough lives to make sure on the given day the best teams move forward. That's why we got our predictions absolutely perfect. 8 out of 8 of the teams I considered the best made it to the actual like quarterfinals for the major. That's what Swiss is supposed to do. No matter how they get there, the best team should be moving forward. But when you get into single elimination and the chaos that is this game of Rocket League in a BO7, you saw how many game 7s there were, how close it was, how different things could have happened. And the best way to do that is to be able to say, you know what, let's reward the best teams and let's make the worst teams or the lesser performing teams have to go through a harder run. And that's exactly what this format does, is if you are in Swiss, okay, you go 1-0, you go 2-0, you go 3-0. Okay, you went 3-0, you won your competition, you did great. If you're a 3-0 team, that means you're either first place or second place coming out of Swiss, which means you'll be put in the upper bracket semifinals. Where it gets spicy is in the 4th round, 3 more teams end up progressing through. Those teams are now 3-1. And if you are the 4th or the 3rd seed, you also get put in the upper bracket semifinals. And if you're in the 5th seed, you go to the lower bracket quarterfinals and you play the 8th seed. We then see more teams come through in the 5th and final round, the final 3 that are now 3-2. And that's how we get our top 8. If you're 1 through 4, you are playing each other in a best of 7. And the winner of that automatically qualifies into the top 4, which is what it was previously. If you win a quarterfinal match or your first match outside of Swiss, you make top 4 and are in the semifinals. That is nothing new. The difference, though, is instead of being eliminated from the tournament, like we saw many teams like Falcons, who looked so great, lose one series in a best of 7 and go home, this time now they get an extra life. So if that was to happen, they would then drop down into the lower bracket semifinals, where they will wait to play the winner of the 5/8 seed and the 6/7 seed. And the reason why this is amazing is it is giving the lower seeds a chance to play each other to create separation. In circumstances, if we compare it, for example, to like the major, what would end up happening is first place would be Gentlemates. So G8 would be here. Oh god, that's too thin. I don't like that. Can we make it a bigger brush? Can I make it? How do I? Oh yeah, they changed it on the. So this would be G8. G8 would then be going up against K Corp in the first round of the playoffs. I made the brush too thick. Okay. Second place, which would be Furia, would then be going up against BDS. The winner of these two goes here. And the winner of these two goes here. Okay. What then happens is instead of seeing these teams eliminated like we saw against the 1/8 seed, so Mates and Gen G played each other, right? So this team and this team played each other. They lost. They move on. Okay. They're just done. They're done for the tournament. That's not the case anymore. What would end up happening then is one of those teams, we'll say, will go based upon the results of how things went and who went further. KC drops down. And I don't know if they'll swap these, if they'll swap the seeds to avoid rematches or not. But KC would drop down. Furia would drop down. And then same thing. 5 would be Falcons. 8 would be Gen G. Sorry for the horrible writing with my not right hand in a mouse. It's not going well. We would then see G2 then go up against Vitality. Say Vitality, G2 goes to 7 again. G2 moves on, plays Furia. They win again. They would then be the low seed here, which would be match 2. So they would end up playing BDS here. So it'd be G2 versus BDS, which is actually what ended up happening, which would have been sick. So you still get the same top 4. You still get the same exact situation. But now at least these teams that lost in that quarterfinal match get an extra life because they proved that they are better towards the top. So it's a pretty sick deal. Gen G Falcons will go for Falcons just for funsies. They win. Falcons KC play. KC wins. KC is now playing Mates in the quarterfinals, just like last time. We still get G8 versus G2. The difference in this is only 2 best of 7s. That's all it does. Everything else stays the same. The only difference is it's 2 more best of 7s. The low seeds play each other, and the high seeds play each other. If the high seeds lose, they get an extra life. They get a chance to fight again. That's where those extra 2 matches comes into play. But at least now it's not just an immediate elimination. Also, if you're a team that's in the lower, at least you're playing a competition that's within striking range rather than having the best team play the worst team. So that's the new hybrid elimination. We have seen this used in APL, I forget, the Asia Pro League. I think they use this. We also saw this used in OCE for a tournament at one point a couple of years back. It's awesome. It really is. If you guys have any additional questions on the hybrid elimination and why it's a massive W, please let me know in the comments down below or stop by the stream. Twitch.tv/Lawler. Come hang out with us. We're more than happy to try to break this stuff down and explain it, even if it is with terrible MS Paint writing abilities. But if you guys enjoy the content, as always, like, subscribe, notifications, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.